Going to be a little bit different today. I'm going to answer a question that I think is quite relevant for the Forex trading world. And that question is very simple. Are you ready to be a trader?
Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. If this is your first time here, I'm the big fella Scruff, with an over-obsession at coffee and probably the worst warped sense of humour there is on YouTube. But does that make me a bad trader or a bad person? Possibly. Bad person maybe, because I know I'm a polarising person. You either like me or you don't. But the one thing that I would like to think I'm pretty good at, because my humour is terrible at times, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at the job. Because when you watch the videos, and I was in a meeting today and it was kind of brought up, I used to be called light switch in industry. And that's because when I was in a boardroom, I'd be on point. Oh, here we go. Talking of things on point, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's my over-obsession with coffee. And she might actually be able to answer this question.
Okay.
No, it is. It's just an open discussion that I'm making a video on. By the way, nothing's ever scripted on these videos. And that's another point of difference. So when you see somebody I watched one really big channel, 100,000 subscribers, saying, oh, I'm going to trade this live. That was the thumbnail. Then went on and says, oh, I can't show you it live because the trade took too long. I'll show you it on a replay on TradingView. Well, that's a red flag straight away, because then it's not live, is it? It's very easy to trade if you know what the outcome is. When you see my videos, I don't know what the outcome is because it's in the moment, and the guys in my squad know what I'm doing a couple of hours beforehand, not a couple of weeks, a couple of hours, because you can always find a narrative in a couple of weeks. Try and do it, shout it out an hour before, break it down, then trade it in front of them. That's a hell of a lot harder. Anyway, cut long story short, we used to be called light switch because when it comes to the job, I can arse about, but when I go to chart or go to do my job, I'll change and I'll immediately go from being an idiot into knowing exactly what I'm doing. Now, you sat and worked in a corporate office with me for a long time.
Yes.
Right? When you saw me in a corporate meeting, because we used to have to go to suppliers, and I mean, we're not talking a couple £100, we're talking a couple 100,000 negotiation for a container of goods and one thing and another. And I'll be buying 4 of these things. All right? So we're talking lots of money. Anyway, you see me in the tea room taking the piss. What happens when we go into the boardroom to start talking?
Yeah, you are a different person. Very professional.
So there we go. Reason being is I know my stuff. I know my onions. I know when to clown and I know when to be on point. But that's the character trait I have. And the words I want to take away from that is I know when. Because I've been through the craft. I understand it. So I think you have to ask yourself the question. Do you know when? Are you ready? Because if you play acting at trading, this is the one thing that makes this polarizing. It involves money. And money, as my gran would say, money will see you out. It'll show you the true character. Now, if you put money ahead of everything, what you'll find is fear and greed comes out. There's a lot of envy comes out as well, and narcissism. It compounds every emotion that you will possibly go through as a human being, and trading compresses it into a very small time frame. Now, you see somebody posting big figures up, fantastic, more power to them. because they've gone through the journey and they've earned the right to trade that. But what happens is you have somebody that has a £200 account mocking the person that has a £100,000 account, because they might see a drawdown move 700 or 800 quid against them, even £2,000. But in the grand scheme of their account, it's minuscule. But they are comparing it to their own account of 200 quid. It's a different mindset. But once you've gone through the chaff and you've actually got some decent skin in the game, say you've got a £20,000 account, your mindset starts changing. But the point is, how do you go from 0 to 20,000? That's the thing. Well, the way you do it is actually treat this as a job, whereas I think most people treat it as a casino. And if you're treating it as a casino, it becomes a game, it becomes exciting. And if you have that excitement, that's where the greed comes in. And the worst thing you could ever do is have a home run. Because if you have a home run and you don't know where it came from, you'll then chase that home run over and over and over. And in the meantime, you'll do so much damage. It'll destroy your mindset, which creates the envy. Then you have the fear, because you keep losing money. That fear eventually turns into anger, which means you'll revenge trade, and again you'll lose. So I'm going to ask the question one more time. Are you ready to trade? It's something for you to think about. When it comes to trading, trading's actually incredibly easy. Incredibly easy. And in fact, I could sit somebody down for an hour and a half, and I can probably technically get them up to speed like that. The one part that I can't do, which is where the Scruffy Squad takes over, and sort of the mentoring ship that's inside that, if you want to call it that. Personally, I call it community, because I don't believe in teacher student situation. You know, don't believe it at all. You want a good teacher? Look in the mirror. I've got a good teacher sitting here. It's also
I'm not a teacher.
Well, you were a teacher for 20 years, but
right,
but you are my best teacher, because believe it or not, little Twinkie Winky here is the voice of reason for me. She keeps me grounded. She also keeps me rocketing to the poorhouse, if you saw yesterday's video, because she stitched me up like a kipper. But
oh, we're not talking about the bin again, are we?
no, we're not talking about the bin, right? But she did stitch me up. Anyway, cut long story short, what I'm getting at is, if you are grounded, you can make rational decisions. And that's what you do in your job, your day job, that pays your bills, pays your mortgage, lets you have the life you've got. Trading is a job, plain and simple. And if you treat it with that, then you are ready to be a trader, because you'll do your tasks as they're meant to be. Turn up at the right time. Do your homework before you press the button. Understand the market that you're trading. Understand the market that you're not going to trade. In other words, a correlation. Because you can look at one market and get so much of the picture. But if you look what it's correlated to, you might necessarily be trading that asset, but you'll understand how that will affect the other. Case in point, FTSE is closely correlated to cable. So you might trade those two assets. But those two assets are also correlated to gold, because gold is correlated to the US dollar. So the US dollar can drive cable, and cable will in turn drive the FTSE. So they are all connected. So you might look at FTSE, think I'm going to trade that today. Your other primary market could be cable. I'm going to trade that as well. But you can have a broad stroke by looking at gold. And then you can see what gold's barometer is by looking at USJPY, because obviously there's a close correlation between those two. And then from the USJPY, you can see how well the dollar's doing. Either use the dollar index, I don't personally myself, or you can look at the S&P 500 because that's a good barometer as well. Mightn't trade them, but if I've got an understanding of what they're up to, it can help markets that I'm in. In other words, homework. Then journal, so you know where your mistakes are. Don't so much journal your wins, journal your errors. And my theory on that is very simple. Iron out what's bad, and whatever is left is good. Have a solid plan. Stick to the rules. Your plan can be as simple as it's a break of a support and resistance. It's above the 20 moving average. I'm buying it today. That's as simple a system as you get. Then you can have a management system of staging into a trade. In other words, build a position up. All of these different things. But in the beginning stages, none of that makes any sense. All that is just, got no idea what that is. So it's bunkum, it's crap. It's not crap. It's the tasks to do the job. And that's what makes you ready to be a trader. I hope that makes sense. I just wanted to sort of throw it out there to see what you lot say in the comments, because this was driven from the comments. I had some comments today on some of my videos, and they're basically pulling apart something that I did 2 years ago. And I'm like thinking, you're talking from the wrong end here. You know, you're arguing points that's being made that are valid. You know, if you're looking at an ATR can define the range of a move, and trying to argue it's showing you the tops. No, it's just the range. You know, trying to argue what an indicator is doing. Couldn't care less what an indicator is doing, because that's exactly what it is. It's an indication of what may happen. It's just a tool. There's only one indicator you want to pay attention to first, and that's the price. Then you want a constant on the chart. That's support and resistance. Those two are the drivers. And then you look at market structure. Has it swung high? Has it swung low? Is it trying to sweep out old orders and stops? Is it overextended so that it's run out of buyers or sellers depending on direction, and it's going to retrace somewhat? Many, many different things. As long as you're profitable at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as there was a process and it wasn't luck. Treat it as a job. It'll pay you as a job. Sermon according to Scruff. So do drop your thoughts down in the comments, and I will generally answer every single one, as I do any message that comes to me, whether it's sort of directly on WhatsApp, email, or in the Telegram that I set up for you. And the Telegram's free. I set it up so there's no signal sellers in there, and there's no dickheads either. Because if you come in and you're one of these dickheads who will argue with everybody, I'll just boot you out. You know, I've got no time for morons. But if you want to come and have some nice clean chat, meet a good community, it's there for you. I made it for you because I was sick of these groups where as soon as you post something, everybody jumps all over you and sort of makes you feel about that big. And there's no stupid questions, guys. None whatsoever. There's just unknown answers. If you don't know what a candlestick is, it doesn't matter. We'll explain it. And we'll explain it 1,000 times if we have to. Because we all have to start somewhere and get you ready. And then you can ask yourself at the end of it, am I ready to be a trader? So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.